Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Dheeraj. He's asking, as a developer with 9 years of experience, what target should I make for next 1 to 2 years that would help my professional and personal growth going forward? Dheeraj, in India, after 8 to 9 years of experience, most of the companies expect you to be kind of a leader and a mentor. So most of the job roles you will get would be that of a team lead as well as a mentor. So in my opinion, whatever goals you set, you should set goals for your technology as well as your personal growth. So for personal growth, maybe you need to improve on your soft skills. You need to check that what are your whether your soft skills are good, bad, mediocre, at what level you are at your soft skills. So you need to check with your company training. There are many training portals online as well as offline who can help you out in your soft skills development. So you can check about your soft skills, whether your soft skills are good, bad, mediocre, at what level you are, and then you can work on your soft skills, your feedback skills, the art of giving good feedback, the art of negotiation, the art of presenting things in a good manner. So you need to work on your soft skills as well as your leadership skills. So there are many courses or many material available related to your leadership skills, because after 8 to 9 years of experience, as I said, more and more companies migrate or transition their developers to team leads, project managers, or architects. So you have to think that what do you want to become? Do you still want to be in the development field or in the technical field, or do you want to go in the management side? So based on that, you need to make your plan. First decide your goals based on that. Even the best, I would say that the best guide for this would be your key performance areas, KPAs, which is there in most of the companies. There are KPAs written in their HR system. So read those KPAs seriously, because most of the time we as a developer, we don't look or we don't value those KPAs, or we don't read those KPAs seriously. So read those KPAs in detail and see that what is expected from you, and then talk to your seniors that what is expected from you in the company. So if you grow professionally, of course you will grow personally also, because of this soft skills, leadership skills. Once you get those, you can apply them everywhere in your life. So in my opinion, the best place to know about this, or the best place to learn about this, is about these goal settings, would be to seriously talk to your mentors and seniors, and seriously read your KPAs, key performance areas in your job. Using that, you can set your goals. That is about your personal growth. About your professional growth, again, you can check with the seniors that in whatever technology you are working, that what is next in that technology, or you can talk to your seniors or your client about what is the vision of your product or project in which you are working on. Most of the time, even if you don't talk to your seniors, you can get it. Many companies have their vision documented for their product, for the full vision cycle is there. If I talk about .NET, there is a full plan for .NET, that what all improvements are coming in .NET in next 5 to 10 years. So you can follow along those and you can read about those, so that you can get well in that technology if you want to still remain into the technical field or technology field, whatever technology you are working on. So you need to follow that plan, growth plan of that technology, for your professional growth. And for professional and personal both growth, you have to follow your key performance areas, your soft skills, to set goals according to that and learn those things. Next question is from Utkarsh. He's asking, is it important to know coding if you have a $1 billion website idea? Utkarsh, it primarily depends on how much funding do you have to build that $1 million website idea. So if you have $1 billion website idea and you have $1 million funding, then of course you can hire good developers and architects to build that website. You don't need to do yourself. Most of the $1 million websites or applications are not developed by coders except from Facebook. Rest of them are mostly managed or developed by the sales people. They are of course from development backgrounds. Most of them were from development background and they used those background to oversee what was being developed. So you don't need to learn coding. You can hire a good solution architect like me and you can hire some good developers to get that developed if you have money. But if you don't have money, then of course you need to develop it yourself, because an idea is nothing until it is executed completely. So you need to have a good execution of your idea to make it a $1 billion website. So you can't, of course, as I said, it depends on how much funding you have. If you have money, you can hire people to get it developed. If you don't have money, then of course you need to learn coding and you need to develop it yourself. Next question is from Himanshu. He's asking, what are some good and free ways to get into coding for either web design, web development, data analysis, or data science? Himanshu, I know about one website which is called edx.org. So you can go for edx.org, that is edx.org, which provide various courses on different topics, be it web development, web design, mobile development, data analysis, or data science for free. So you can get the course for free from them. They most of these courses are free courses. You can take the course for free. They are video courses. You can take it at your own pace, do it on your own pace and complete those courses. They are completely free. However, if you need certificate, then you need to pay something. So I know about edx.org. From there you can do free courses, and most of these courses are from good universities like MIT, Harvard. Even I think MIT also or Harvard also have their own free sites where they give free courses on these topics. So if you ask me, I would say there are many options, many free options to learn all these topics. However, when you spend some money, you become serious about that money you have spent and you spend some time to get the value out of money. So my suggestion is always to go for some paid courses. Maybe even if you don't go for paid courses, go for courses on edx.org where you have to pay for the certificate. So once you complete that course, you give that exam and pay for the certificate. So you can get the certificate also. And as I said, the good and free option would be edx.org where you can get courses on all of these topics. Next question is from Deepak Sharma. He's asking, which specialization should I choose for a BTech in CSC, cybersecurity and privacy, or full stack and DevOps? Deepak, both of these fields are very promising, be it cybersecurity and privacy or be it full stack and DevOps. Both of these fields are very promising. They have very good job scopes. So even after 4 years, when you complete your BTech in CSE, you will be able to get good jobs in any of these fields. So it primarily depends on what are your likes and dislikes, what are your choices. I see that in most of the cases in cybersecurity and privacy, you need to learn more about network protocols and how to manage the security and all those things. I haven't done anything related to cybersecurity, so I don't know much details about it. But there are many options because more and more companies are going into online world because of this pandemic and all. So cybersecurity has very good scope. Similarly, full stack development and DevOps also have very good scope. So both of these fields have equal number of opportunities even after 4 years of completing your computer science. So it primarily depends on your choices is what do you like, what are your likes and dislikes in the field of computer science programming. Do you like to read about network protocols or security measures or security protocols, or do you like to develop or working coding? Do you like to write code, write application, full stack web applications or mobile application? Like full stack development mainly handles full stack web applications. So are you interested in doing programming, writing full stack applications, or are you interested in doing DevOps activities where you are writing rules for different steps of DevOps or setting up DevOps pipelines and all those things? So it primarily based on your likes and dislikes. What are your interests? I would suggest that go through the curriculum of both the subject, both the subject. Go through the curriculum of both the subjects. Look them thoroughly and think upon what do you like, rather than, because as I said, both the subjects have equal number of opportunities and both of them are very promising fields. Next question is from Kishore. He's asking, before I tell my idea to an app/software developer, what should I do to first secure my idea? Kishore, there are two ways to save or secure your idea. Now, the first one is a legal way and the second one is a practical way. The legal way would be to trademark your idea or trademark or copyright your idea and get the NDA signed or non-disclosure agreement signed by the developer or app or software developer. Usually I have seen many companies do that they sign an NDA. They ask the developer or whatever person joining a company to sign an NDA or non-disclosure agreement before joining their job or before joining their company. So the legal way would be to copyright your idea and get a NDA signed by the developer. So after following the legal way, that is getting your copyright and NDAs, getting a copyright of your idea and NDA signed by the developer, you can follow the practical way of saving your idea, and that is not sharing the whole complete flow of your application or idea to the developer. So what you can do basically is you can divide your whole application idea into small modules and give those modules to different developers. Even if they are full stack developers, you can give those small modules to different developer, or even to the same developer you can give those module individually, and you can just explain the individual module workflow, not explain the whole application workflow. That way software developer will work only on your the module which is given to him, and your application will be developed in independent manner. My suggestion for you would be to hire a good solution architect or good architect for architecting your product. Again, get the legalities done, that is get your legal document, NDAs and copyright done, and get the NDA signed by even your software architect also, and then ask him to safeguard your idea. That's how I have done in one of my companies. When I was working with a startup, they asked me to sign the NDA. I signed the NDA and then I got the whole idea from them, and then I divided those ideas to the different developers, and two developers know about how the whole application works. They only know about how their module is working and how their module is exposing data, so they are only focused on their particular module. So that way, that is the practical way of saving your idea, and so I would suggest to follow both the ways, that is practical and legal ways. That is, get the copyright done and then hire a solution architect who can divide your idea or application into individual modules and give only module based flow information to the developer. Next question is from Krishna Mohan. He's asking, will you be rejected for a freelance position if you are holding a full-time job? Krishna Mohan, no, you can't be rejected from a freelance opportunity even if you are holding a full-time job, because if you go on platforms, like if you get a freelance job via different platforms, you can't be rejected if you clear the interview. So the main criteria for getting a freelance job on all the freelancing platform is clearing the client interview. So if you can give time, if you have mentioned on that platform that you can give time, then of course, and you clear the interview by the client, then of course you can get the freelance job. You won't get rejected. Your full-time job is not the reason of rejection. Of course, if they ask that how much time will you give and that time doesn't match their requirement, then you can get rejected. But if you can give the time which they require, like if they require a part-time developer, 3 to 4 hours per day developer or 2 hours per day developer, and you can give that time to them, then and you clear their technical interview, then there is no reason for them to reject you. That is one thing. However, you can be fired from your full-time job if they come to know that you are working on the side as a freelancer. So make sure with your HR and with your make sure to check your employment documents that they allow you to do freelancing on the side. 90% of the companies in India don't allow freelancing on the side to their employees. So it is a risk to work as a freelancer while you are while you are working as a full-time employee in a company. So in my opinion, rather than looking for a freelance gig, you should use the time which you have apart from your full-time job, the time which you have to learn about new things or increase your personal brand, to build your personal brand, rather than doing freelance gig, because it is risky. Even though you can't be rejected from the freelance position, but you can be fired from your full-time position if they come to know that you are freelancing on the side. So be secure, and the answer to your question is no, you won't be rejected. So these were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you like your questions to be featured in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM me your questions on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care. Bye bye.